edge of the universe, 400 men and women are probing the immeasurable blackness of space. Their leaders are an Earthman with no fear and a stranger with no heart. Travel beyond our time and solar system, into new galaxies, into worlds beyond your dreams. Star Trek, every week, in color.
Oh man, Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Earth time. It's that time again. It's time for Series Star Trek. It's me, your engineer, Dantron. Hey, I'm here with the guys. I'm here in the transporter room just doing a little work on the new LCARS upgrade system. Let me just quickly move to the forefront here. Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm showing off the new transition effect that I just discovered in OBS earlier this afternoon. I'm going there. That's my prerogative. But now let's bring in your hosts who want to talk about, man, what else but Star Trek. Dr. John E. Price, Ph.D. Hey.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just pouring myself a drink.
And our pal, Captain Fun, Larry Young. Hey, what's up, Captain?
Dentron. Happy to be here, Dr. Price. I wish I had a Dr. Boyce quote for you. Just pouring myself a drink kind of screams where no man has gone before, doesn't it? Or early
only.
Cage, maybe.
Remember when we were explorers?
A man will tell his bartender something he won't tell his own labia.
Whatever that line is. I don't know.
That's a great line.
One of the first times that women's outer organ anatomy things were mentioned on network television.
But not the last.
Another first for Star Trek.
Another first.
All right. It's going to be that kind of show.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Picard.
Labias.
Man, Picard.
How is everybody?
We're not here for first. We're here for last. Thankfully, the last episode of Picard season 3.
Oh, can I tell you guys?
Yeah.
Doing some administrative cleanup, I was able to understand that today is our 63rd episode.
63.
So I thought that was kind of cool because not only was that the year I was born, but that's when they started working on Star Trek.
Look at that. Look at that. 1963 coming in hot.
And they killed Kennedy. So 63 is fucking
yeah.
Cool
Ironically, that's what I taught about today at Starfleet Academy High School. I taught about the Kennedy administration, and the kids were very interested in his assassination. So we watched a lot of the Zapruder film.
Are you able to even mention Kennedy down at Starfleet Academy?
Oh yeah, they don't check what I do. Yeah, as long as you don't screw anything up, no one cares.
Because the whole Starfleet Academy High School thing, I always feel like it should be like Bajoran prison camp, a Cardassian prison camp on Bajor High School. That's what it always sounds like to me.
Well, and also 1963 is a magic number because I'm working on the new 1963 fan collaboration project. Those big fat fan books, doing a sequel, the because they never ended the 1963 series from Image Comics. Don Simpson just finally put out his finale to the piece.
Look at that.
Which I helped him proofread a little bit. He sent me the script beforehand. I gave him notes on, and I sent him my script that he's giving me some notes on. So it's going to be a fun project this year.
Get your blue all over it,
Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, mine, I don't want to brag, but man, I got a great artist assigned to my project. I think mine's going to be one of the best looking things.
Nice.
And what's sure to be a great looking book. So keep watching the skies for the giant size 1963 annual.
That's awesome.
You should do a $1 Million Mailbox interview with yourself. That would be
so
fucking
that would
funny.
be awesome.
I just might, but it might be just too much good stuff. Sometimes
too much.
Too much.
Yeah. I know my Speaking of too much, okay.
Speaking of too much.
So Star Trek Picard was this season was a roller coaster ride. If by roller coaster ride you mean it started at the top and dipped way down like dramatically.
Oh man.
But it did hit a minor upswing on the last couple of episodes, right? Like I felt like the middle filler I could have done without.
Yeah.
It's meaningless.
Well, it's
Otherwise,
almost like It's almost like the last 2 episodes are completely like you don't need to watch the first 8 episodes to get to the last 2. Like there's some plot obviously that you don't understand, but like considering
We don't either.
They switch entirely to the Borg for the last 2 episodes, which isn't mentioned at all. And I understand, yes, there's references and whatever, but like that's not the threat in the first 8 episodes. And all of a sudden, the last 2 episodes, the Borg are about to conquer the Federation. So you could literally just watch those 2 episodes and be like, yeah, this is awesome.
I think you can. I think that middle stuff is all just like a chance to do what is really this hidden agenda that was finally revealed at the end of this episode, which is that Jack Crusher is our new hero. He's the one we love now, and he's the one we want to follow. And who else? He's sexy, right? We've established that. If nothing, he's sexy. So you take who is arguably, maybe inarguably, the sexiest Star Trek character of all time.
Neelix.
Dr. Helen Noel.
Neelix.
I'm going to say 7 of 9 because she was just like, that was what she was. So let's take all the sexiest elements of Star Trek. Let's sex them up.
Yeah, but Rafi's there too.
And Rafi, this
whole nonsense. I hope they don't do it.
Well, okay, all right. We gotta pace ourselves here because there's a lot to talk about.
You're right.
There's a lot to talk about.
You're right.
So should we
just
start
say,
off? Yes.
Anybody
please.
in this uniform looks like they're in a shuttlecraft.
That's true. You do look like you're in a shuttlecraft.
Like, holy crap!
Yeah, you do.
And that's why I hate Discovery, because those uniforms suck.
That's why I hate Discovery. Yeah, that's about right.
Anyway,
should we start off with just like a recap of the episode?
I'm with Sagasag. I'm changing my vote to Vosh. Vosh was probably
we could have used a Vosh cameo. That would have been
Vosh
amazing.
was sexy. Have you seen her lately though?
No,
she's a handsome woman. Don't get me wrong, but she looks like somebody's great grandmother now.
I mean, she's old. What do you want? You know,
that's what I mean.
What are you gonna do?
It's that Shelby thing.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, man? You don't look like, what's his name, Dennehy's daughter anymore. You did when you had blonde hair.
And the correct answer.
I mean, they look like a person. That's how people age.
The correct sexiest Star Trek guy is
when you see a picture of The Rock, just his head when he's in Voyager, right? And he's got hair, that's done makeup, and you see him now. Yeah, that's 35 years later, but you can tell it's the same guy.
That's not fair to compare anybody to The Rock. He is
Renee Russo,
pumped full
Heather
of
Locklear.
If anything, who looks better 35 years later after anything, at any point in your life, and you say 35 years ago, I look better than I look 35. Even when you're 35, that's not true.
I think personally, George Clooney looks better now. He kind of. Have you seen him when he was like on Facts of Life? You just want to punch him in the face.
I mean,
now you're like, dude, why aren't you running for president?
We're veering wild.
I'd vote for George Clooney. I don't even know anything about him. And be like, yeah, you were Batman once. Let's do this.
The truth is, though, sexiest Star Trek has to be Kirk or Spock. Spock, I think, provoked the most weird, sexy feelings in America. And that's actually the secret why Star Trek survived. Captain Kirk alone was not enough. You'd had sexy rocket ship.
I don't think there was anything.
Guys think it's the gym phenomenon, right? You know, guys don't go to the gym for girls. Guys go to the gym for other guys. That's the Kirk phenomenon, right? Guys are like, yeah, dude, Kirk is sexy. I want to be like Kirk. And the women are like, actually, I want to bang Spock.
Yeah, you know.
And the rest of the guys are like, whoa, he has weird ears. Like,
that's what's so funny, because everybody goes, oh, Kirk will, bang anything on any planet. And it's like, well, yeah, unless you're paying attention to the actual narrative where Spock is the baddest boy in space.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's like, oh, Spock, I can fix you.
I mean, he straight up manipulates the poor Romulan commander.
But you guys take my point. Jerry Ryan was meant to sexy up Voyager.
Oh, we're back to Picard now.
And Jack Crusher is meant to sexy up this.
He's the worst.
They can't do it.
That's what those middle episodes were. Was the Jack Crusher get to know Picard? Who is this mystery man? He's multifaceted. He doesn't want to be in Starfleet. He's too much of a bad boy.
I'll
to
tell
want to
you
be in Starfleet.
exactly why this will not work in the shortest possible way. And if any of the Paramount guys are listening, they will burst into tears immediately because at the very truth of this, it's not going to work because his name is Jack Crusher. And nobody buys fucking toys of Jack Crusher. There's like, okay, Jack's got a hard consonant in it, and Crusher starts out that way, but it doesn't end. Kirk, fucking Spock.
I don't know. What about Jack
Crusher.
Reacher?
Oh, Crusher. Give
What
me
about
that
Jack
Crusher stuffed animal. It's just never going to work. No one
I
will
would buy
care.
a Jack Reacher stuff.
That's why he's Jack. Yeah,
Well,
I don't know. He's
Jack Luke.
He's a shitty character, but there's no.
Oh, he's terrible.
This whole
He is.
series was doing nothing but setting us up for what happened in that abysmal post credits. I was talking to Larry while I was watching this thing, and I'm like, that episode kind of blew. It wasn't. I kind of liked the ending. It was okay, and then the post credits scene came on while I'm talking to him, and I'm like, oh, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding? I mean, they basically took this. It is a vindication to everything. We've said it before. They just said Picard stunk. Season 1 and 2 was a big mistake. This is a big undo switch to Data, the Borg, Q.
Yeah.
And anything
Even
else.
Picard himself.
Yeah, all we got was Raffi.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny? I'm not gonna remember this stuff. We were talking about the lines, right? I can quote lines from the old Star Trek, scenes from Next Gen, and I just there's some stuff that's good. I like it. I like episodes. I like parts of stuff. It's cool. But it's always in the moment. Like nothing sticks with me. And I don't know if that's me or just it seems unfair to say that it's the blandness of the Star Trek writing, because I think it's just the sheer volume of content that's available that goes into my brain. That, like, you know, I have Utrecht, son of Utrecht in jokes with my kid that just used to be Star Trek. You know?
But Larry, I'll tell you this:
So-
we got a season of Picard where there's some, I don't know, fist fights in a spaceship hallway, and there's some space battles that even if they threw in a couple tricks, like we've seen starship battles, they're cheap. Compare that, you go to Mandalorian and they're doing epic jetpack battles, and they're giving us
so good.
Dude, they're giving us like canon and just like really interesting, important, big things happening in arcs, taking time for other character pieces too. Just, it was a night and day comparison watching these two back to back. Mandalorian, my expectations were pretty high, but they stayed up there. They dipped here and there a little bit throughout the season. Picard, it was just like, I had an open mind. Go back to the first episode when I was a cheerleader for this thing.
Oh, I remember. I have a notes on all of you.
And honestly, I'm tempted to just watch the first two and the last three, maybe two again, and see if that works as a coherent narrative, because I think it almost does.
I bet it does.
I bet it does.
Vladik is unnecessary to the
worst.
No.
affair.
Yeah.
That's the worst indictment that you can give to them, though. That's like, hey, you guys worked really hard, and only really a third of it mattered.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
But they had the budget to do 10 shows, and they gave us basically like 4 or 5 shows worth with a stretched out middle and essentially a to be continued, like, come along for the ride, boys, for the next thing.
Yeah. Well, that is, and I have to admit to everyone not watching right now that I've done basically almost a 180. I've watched the last episode multiple times now, and I think I like it. I definitely like the way it all resolves, where you know, Seven is captain of the ship and Federation is back, and the Borg is gone for good. Like, I definitely like that part. No more Borg ever, please. And it's like, okay, we cleaned up the mess. We cleaned up all the messes that Kurtzman started 5 years ago, and we can finally move forward with actual Star Trek on the USS 709.
Here's my problem with all that, though.
You're
Is
both
that-
just staring
Well,
right into my soul.
I remember when the J.J. Abrams thing came out, and the giant ding that most all the my age Star Trek fans had was that, like, oh, that's pretty fucking convenient that, you know, he's punching people in bars as a drunken townie, and 5 seconds later is the captain of the Enterprise. But the answer to that is you want to fucking see a Star Trek episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just I kind of blinked at that because it's like, yes, just fucking put them on there. I don't really even care if it's the same way that it happened in the show.
Mm-hmm.
I get it because this is a movie now. So all the people that were mad about that are fucking fine with Picard now. And it's like, it just makes me go like, what's the fucking difference? Like the first one, Kirk's there too soon. And this one, this show's 15 years too late. Like that's the giant meh that I have. And I cannot believe everybody has all this nostalgia for. It's because these guys aren't the people that I liked. Oh, but all the 30 years have passed. Right. I don't give a shit. Like, give them a little card on the bottom that says, yeah, Uhura was captain of the ship in training academy things in museum space dock until she died. That's all you need from any of these characters now. Right. Maybe if Ashley Judd wants to suit up again. But
that'd
like,
be good.
The next gen guys are just too old.
Yeah.
There's no sexual tension between Frakes and Deanna Troi. Marina Sirtis, they're great folks, but like they're grandparents.
What
Nobody
did you
wants
think,
to see that on TV?
Larry? What did you think about the Earth, we're Earth and we give up speech by President Chekhov?
I was just really taken out of the whole thing because it said Anton Chekhov. Who's like, and I don't know, I spoke about this last week, I think, and I was all outraged. This is the most famous Anton. Of course, I read this morning that it's like supposed to be some kind of not tip of the hat to dead Anton.
Yeah,
Yelchin.
Anton Yelchin.
So I'm like, why is that not completely obvious to me? I just forgot that.
Good question.
I forgot that it's Metalis and those guys making this show and not actual TV production adults. Because I don't know. It's I don't mean to get all snobby, like, oh, when I hear the William Tell overture, I think of the opera and not the Lone Ranger. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Anton Chekhov, to people who follow story, is the guy who wrote about the gun over the door. Right? It's not like this gymnastics like, oh, Chekhov from the old show, but it's, you know, Price's Uncle Wally. And
that's a great photo.
I got Walker saying that now when we were talking about that. He goes, "Oh, is that Chekhov?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "You mean Price's Uncle Wally?"
That's right, Uncle Wally.
I wish I had I wish I had a film of that.
So the answer is, though, it's not the Chekhov we knew. He's long dead.
It's his son.
No, it's supposed to be his son
something about
or
my
grandson
father
or something.
It's it's his descendant. Who I still don't get how.
And it's
in the future, the Star Trek future accents somehow are weirdly genetic. Like people are born with accents.
I hate everything about Jack Crusher.
Jack Crusher. Yeah, like why does whatever.
I really hate Jack Crusher. No, but I thought it was cute that he basically gave the speech from Star Trek 4 when it's like, you know, stay away from planet Earth, you know. I thought that was nice, you know. Look, okay, here's the deal. Okay. Is this good? No. Is this a good wrap up for the failure of Star Trek Picard? Yes.
This is beaten wife syndrome.
I just like how me going, you know, it's fine, is like perceived by some folks, not you guys, as like, well, you hated it. And I'm like, no, I'm not just like overdosing on the nostalgia berries that you guys are.
A lot of people are.
Fine,
so there's a
great.
really interesting.
I just don't give a shit.
There's
oh my God, you hate it.
An interesting counter reaction because, believe it or not, there are people who exist who pretend like they like season 2 and season 1.
I know him. I've met him.
and those people are starting to get in a bit of a hissy fit because all of a sudden all the people are celebrating the fact that season 3 basically gives a big middle finger to season 2.
Right.
And they're like, whoa, what do you mean? Like, season 2 is an integral part. So they're getting mad at the people for liking season 3 because season 3 tells season 2 to go F off. It's an interesting little counter reaction that I've noticed.
Yeah, but Raffi was a linchpin. And where would we be without
I
Raffi?
hate, of all the characters, like the worst one, right?
You know, those guys, they cause that though, right? There's no
absolutely.
like Star Trek, you know, like, oh, I've got a favorite Enterprise or whatever, like on Doctor Who. You don't hear about Doctor Who fights because there's a little something for everybody. Well, guess what? There's a little something for everybody in Star Trek, except these motherfuckers like pit everybody against each other.
It's true.
Like the second Starfleet Academy comes out, or the Section 31 movie, whichever comes out first, they're going to be like, you know, they're going to be mad that like, well, Jack Crusher's not in it. Yeah. And it's like, well, yeah, because you know what? We decided that's not really going to be the way we go.
Oh,
we're doing something else.
I'm already
you just
convinced.
pissed off everybody again for no reason.
Yeah.
Voyager is, are you guys kidding me? Legacy is green lit.
No, I am.
It's all but green. How do you make an entire last episode like that? And then
he did that on purpose.
Like
That's why.
Right.
Look.
Vitalis did that hoping that this would happen so he could get a job.
The overriding story is that nobody cared. Like, they let him, like, they weren't micromanaging him. They basically let Matalas do whatever he wants. And with the expectation that, the people have hated the last 2 seasons. If they hate season 3, that's no big deal, right? We're going to go put all our effort over here with Strange New Worlds and whatever fuck else they're doing, right? But now, because it's this massive success, Alex Kurtzman is like pissed about it. I guarantee you this is what's happening.
That's why the
episodes pissed about it.
Were leaked early not leaked, but given out selectively early to build this fan interest. Now there's going to be a fan campaign for Legacy.
There already is.
But this was because you demanded it. The fans demanded it. We're bringing you the adventures of Jack and Seven, and nothing about that show is appealing.
Do you think Alex Kurtzman is going to bring Terry Matalas back to run his own little mini Star Trek empire within Kurtzman's empire? Hell no. No, that's not going to happen. If they bring it back, Kurtzman's going to be the EP, and it's going to suck.
This season, the writing's on the wall. This season is like the one that the fans loved, the critics loved. The ratings are probably better on.
Oh yeah, it's the first time it's been a top 10 show.
Yeah,
ever.
So that's all that matters, right? That's what's going to get the power, the transfer of power. Who is Kurtzman? Who is he blowing?
Kurtzman is in charge of Star Trek. He's. I think it's not going to happen. There's a lot of people. Look, you're absolutely right. There's a fan campaign going on. They asked Kurtzman about it the other day, and he gave this kind of squirrely little answer. Now, to be fair, all of his answers are squirrely because he's a little squirrel. But I don't know. Read his body language, and he didn't look very happy about the fact that it's popular. But that's just me.
And what guarantees him his job? I mean, heads of studios are getting chopped.
That would be nice.
Major news stars getting fired by major news corporations. Like, dude, none of these guys are safe. So I don't see where Kurtzman can consider himself safe when this was a complete repudiation of and Strange New Worlds was a complete repudiation of Discovery.
Well, that's why I think it's a possible we might get Legacy, because the fans completely willed that Strange New Worlds into existence.
Yes.
CBS did when it was all access, they did a subscriber satisfaction form thing. And of course, the number one thing is, what do you want to see from CBS All Access? And the number one answer was the fucking Anson Mount Adventure Hour, please. So they did that, and it's pretty well received, right? Solid B- show across the board. That's great. Everybody who likes it loves it. So, you know, maybe they're not
Yes,
selling
they
toys yet.
did.
So they're just going to say the same fucking thing with Legacy. Look, everybody loves it.
They
Fans
did
want
Strange
it.
New Worlds, but who runs Strange New Worlds? Akiva Goldsmith runs Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
He's not going to just give Terry Metalis his own show. He's not.
Well,
And I mean, he should. I mean, if he's
runs Lower Decks, and the girl sisters run.
Yeah, and
Prodigy.
he's making them do a crossover episode with Strange New Worlds.
Oh, I think that's awesome.
I mean, it's going to be great, but still, like, he needs. Look, I could be completely wrong. What the fuck do I know? But I think I'm right.
I hope you're right, because I don't want that to happen.
I would be fine with the Strange New World style Captain Seven.
Here's the thing, right? As much as we go, oh, we could fix Star Trek, and that would be true. It's because it's completely what we say is completely outside literally 99% of all the other hurdles that you have to do for production.
Yeah, sure.
So I think it's cool that they get stuff done, but the last fucking thing you want, the last guy you want to be president is the guy who wants to be president, right? The last guy you want to be postman is a postman. You want Kevin Costner because he's going to believe in the ideals, right? So you don't want fucking Star Trek fans writing Star Trek, because that is the fucking bullshit you will get. Like, look, here's a Horgon. Oh, look, the turtles are fucking. Like, that's not a Star Trek thing, man. You got to get science fiction.
I mean, like,
they tried to get a science fiction with Michael Chabon, and that was a fucking disaster.
What you mean? Like,
that was the worst. That was possibly the worst Star Trek ever written.
I agree.
I mean, Star Trek season or Picard season 2 was the worst production, mostly because of COVID. But season 1 was possibly the worst thing ever written.
Guys, like, this had the term Mugatu meditation in it. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
Does that even make sense? Maybe,
no.
maybe it does. They hibernate or something.
I Mugatu meditate all the time. I contemplate. Why does McCoy say it differently than everyone else? Why is it spelled differently in the end credits? Just is, man.
Yeah, Lower Decks had a better joke, a better Mugatu joke.
Oh, Jesus, that's what they almost lost my kid because he was a little young for all that Mugatu fucking. My wife was like, "Hey, what is this again?"
That's funny.
Star Trek, leave it alone.
Okay, so do we have thoughts on the Enterprise D becoming the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, I hate it. Like, just why? The only way that big bloated monstrosity of a ship works is if you shoot it like the Love Boat, right? It's like, here we're fucking coming in, and we're getting here, we're shooting shit. It's a stately, grand kind of like, here's this national monument that's coming to fuck up your deflector shield. You know what I mean? And zip it around and knocking antennas off. It's just fucking. It's like that monkey fuck from IndieWire who wrote, "Oh, Picard is succeeding where the Mandalorian fails." And it's like, yeah, if you look at it like they're two sci-fi action shows, right? But they're both trying to do two different things. And so having like, we're going out there and discovering strange new worlds and fucking bringing, Kennedy-esque fucking colonialism to the fucking blue man. That's great, right? And it's not like pow, pew, pew, pow. Oh, the carbonite is still unoxidized. Oh, look, Patton Oswalt's made a career talking about Star Wars for 8 minutes, and I go 20, and my wife tells me to shut up.
So true.
Come on.
So true.
Well, I think that's Jack Crusher is just an attempt to add a Han Solo to the Star Trek universe, and
it's so bad. He's the worst.
It'd be all right if they didn't do everything with him, right? Han works in Star Wars because he's the guy that doesn't want to be there, right? But you can't hang a show on the guy who doesn't want to be there.
Exact. This is like Han Solo being like, "Oh, I can't wait to be an admiral. I really, really, really want to get involved with the military."
But then they made him a doctor, and then they made him a hooker with a heart of gold, and then they just keep adding on. Oh, and he's got this crazy new robot DNA that's somehow organic. He's got powers like the X-Men. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, no. You know what happens when you try to please everybody? You have 10% of 10 things in one character. instead of an archetypical character that you can get behind, or the archetypical villain that you love to hate, or the it's TV has to work like that, or what the fuck are you doing?
Jack Crusher is dangerous. Don't you remember Troy saying that? He's just looking at it, he's dangerous, just with a simmering, sultry feeling. Like, ugh! I said yuck so many times during this episode. Like, ugh!
That's the 15 years too late thing, though, right?
Yes.
Like, you hear that from a 70-year-old woman, and it doesn't land. Like, maybe the hot chick Rebecca from Ted Lasso going, oh, that guy's dangerous. All right. She's an older lady, but like, okay. She's probably went, oh, yeah, that's the one from column A guy. You know? But
yeah, I think you're right. The 15 years too late thing, definitely.
My best friend's illegitimate son is so dreamy. Like, who the
dangerous?
Come on.
Yeah. Definitely fits. I mean, this is designed to be the finale that Nemesis was not, right? It's also designed to retcon everything that was wrong in season 1, season 2. It was also designed to basically get Star Trek moving forward again. And I think for those 3 qualifications, I think it's a smash hit. It does all those 3 things. It is a finale that Nemesis was not. It is a retcon and kind of a scrubbing of season 1, season 2, and it does get Star Trek moving forward again. So in that respect, it's a pretty big success. The first 8 episodes are pointless, and Jack Crusher, the main character, is awful, and of course Raffi's there for some reason, but yeah, I mean. For what it is, it is, you know?
What do you think that is? Because that was the first 2 seasons of Discovery. Like, you can watch this and it doesn't matter. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And so, but that doesn't happen to any other shows that I can think of. You might have a weird fill-in episode, or like the Mandalorian shows up for 2 episodes of Boba Fett, or the Coach Beard episode in Ted Lasso, but like they did those on purpose, right? They had storytelling functions. Yeah. This is just like yada da 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 da. Keep them going till episode 8.
I think that's the key, right? The people writing Star Trek right now are more interested in, hey, remember Star Trek, instead of, hey, let's tell a story that integrates Star Trek things. And I think season 3 was better in that respect, but it still did a lot of that, where it's like, hey, we're just doing a bunch of Star Trek stuff right now. Remember this? It's Star Trek. Yay!
It was all to serve the Jack Crusher agenda. That's what kills me, is that you could have given us a reason to like Jack Crusher. You could have given us an interesting adventure in those 8 episodes. There's plenty of time to do that, not just to endlessly tease the Red Door and how dangerous he is and how sexy yet misunderstood he is.
Yeah.
And every single character turn for him was like, yeah, he is the try-hardiest Star Trek character, I think, of all time.
I mean, he beats Wesley Crusher, that's for sure. And that is no small feat.
This is what all Beverly turns out is nincompoops.
Hey, at least Wesley Crusher went to Starfleet Academy. You know?
Well, oh wait, no, Jack Crusher went through an accelerated
half of a year.
Because he's so
I mean, to be fair, he's like 30 years old, so you know.
I heard he even taught them.
I have to say,
that's what I heard.
Bad casting.
I just looked at that like he got AP credits for life experience, right?
Yeah, of course, yes.
To be fair,
it is dumb. Yeah, no, the whole thing is dumb, but
yeah.
How about it could have been a field promotion in the heart of battle during an episode of this season?
You're really onto something. The thing that they dropped the ball on is they should have taken those 8 episodes and made us give a shit about that character.
Yes.
If he was going to be the lantern that, you know, shone forward. Because I don't care. I think that guy's stupid. And I mean, contractually, if you even do that show, 7 of 9 has to get top billing. She'll get that Janeway spot. So maybe he's second or even third. but your second or third build guy has to be awesome. And none of Jack Crusher and his personality, his backstory, the adventure that we shared with him, none of that was earned. It was all like, hey, remember whose parents this guy is? Oh, remember that old villain that they liked? He's in on that too. It's just like Captain Retcon.
Well, and he's not a medical officer or whatever. He's so good. He could fill any position on that crew.
Kind of a Mary Sue.
They want him on the deck at 7's side to give like
Terry Sue.
Terry Sue. Yay. We did it.
Wow,
Yeah,
and actual
teamwork makes the dream
an
work.
appropriate use of Mary Sue almost too, if you
because he knows a bunch of languages. He's a medic. He's
right. This is him, right?
He fucking does everything.
Yeah.
No, I think the problem is I think they thought they were doing exactly what you guys want. They thought they were making him a sympathetic character. They thought they were giving the audience a reason to care. And I mean, a lot of people online seem to like him. I know the producers, of course, are praising him left, right, and center, obviously. But I mean, there's a lot of positive feedback to Jack Crusher. I don't understand why. I think he's one of the worst fucking characters in Star Trek history. But and that's a long list right there. Jack Crusher or Lazarus? Which one you picking? But no, I do think they thought they were trying to do that, and it's a shame that they failed miserably.
They definitely tried. They made sure that people were horny for him, like everyone around him, like, oh, he's sexy. Oh, look at him mixing it up with those smugglers in such a roguish way. Look,
and so much of that had no payoff whatsoever. There's so much in the first 8 episodes that has no consequence whatsoever. It's very, very.
The reason none of that works is because if you're fucking the Rocketeer, Billy Campbell, and you beam on your ship and you got your leather jacket and fucking Terry Hatcher's the transporter chick, and you walk over and you just fucking put your groin right in her hip and go, hey, lady, where do you get a drink around here? That guy is like, ooh, that's the sexy, dangerous boy. But having 70-year-old grandmothers going, oh, look at that guy over there. Isn't he so dangerous? It does not work. You have to write a fucking line. Show him being all like sexy and cool. Yeah. But then you got
I'll tell you the whole he can take over other people's bodies it doesn't make sense in context of the Borg at all. And also gets a little problematic at times. Like he's inhabiting people's bodies without their consent and making them do things like Sidney LaForge. I mean, he's not. Is that a consensual taking over of your body? That's a very weird situation. And then he's trying to hit on her. Like it's a very, very murky situation. I don't know about that one, Jack Luke. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Well,
creepy as fuck.
As I understood the powers thing, he doesn't have that power anymore, right? He doesn't have that ability because it was all about only those who were converted into the Borg.
Right.
He had a Borg link too, so he could kind of like puppeteer Borgs.
Yeah,
that made sense. Those parts made sense, and are actually the parts I was okay with, a little bit, but just it was so drawn out, and there was nothing. I don't really understand why I like him at all, why I'm supposed to like him. I also don't really understand why he's now gung-ho Starfleet. Like, I didn't feel that transformation. He went from like where I feel like he should have stayed, which is just like Starfleet is not for me, to like, I'm on the game. This was the same problem I had with like Chakotay. And those guys, the terrorists that just suddenly were wearing Starfleet uniforms as soon as they were in Voyagers, like they're like, oh, we're in and we're quoting Starfleet regulations and we're really, it's not believable.
Well, there's a couple things going on there.
Please unpack, Larry.
Chakotay was Starfleet in the first place, so he just got religion and brought his other people with him.
Okay.
And then what was the first bit? I was like, I had something for you there too. Although Sagasag distracted me because he's absolutely right.
Yeah, he does that.
When write a line about it, right? Just write a fucking
Well, that's the
line.
thing. So they dump
But they
all of this
don't.
information in the last 2-3 episodes.
Yeah.
You know, and like again, the whole point that like the Borg effectively come out of nowhere, because I understand that they thought they were giving clues throughout the first 8 episodes, but they weren't, because you're using imagery and symbolism that doesn't occur with the Borg ever. When the fuck have the Borg ever taken over people and like had red eyes and bullshit? Like you're not connecting with the audience that this is Borg, which is why everyone and their mother thought it was the goddamn Pah-wraiths.
Pah-wraiths, right?
Because that's what the fucking Pah-wraiths do. Like
all the symbolism of the vines and the branches was from his personal childhood, which we knew nothing of. So those
exactly
meant nothing to us.
Right.
One thing that I read, perhaps, or I might have heard it on Red Letter Media even, was that the original appearance of the Borg or the Borg Queen, there was like a reveal from a red door in one of the episodes or something.
Okay.
But that's such an obscure cut.
Yeah, we're all dicks. We didn't get that reference.
Right. But literally, they were literally red herrings, because there was meaning. There was no way to interpret what the red door was.
No.
Without just knowing the secret.
Right. And person says here, Vadic hand demon and Borg Queen connection wasn't exactly explained clearly. It wasn't explained at all.
Not at all.
It wasn't explained. It was explained by Terry Metalis in an interview 3 days later. Like that's why like the first 8 episodes, there's so much that you need to know in those first 8 episodes, and they don't explain any of it.
Well, please explain to me what was the hand demon. What was the hand thing? What was the?
It was the Borg Queen. It was the Borg Queen connecting to Vlasic. That's it. That's the explanation.
It was. Okay. Oh, it's just how she communicated.
Yeah, it's how you cut off her arm and the Borg Queen appeared somehow.
Hand signals.
Really, remember when there was 9 or 10 of them, and then all of a sudden there's like 50,000 of them taking over Starfleet? Yeah, okay. Anyway.
It seems churlish for me to bring up, but the whole Borg Queen face reveal thing is completely predicated on like you seeing that that's the Borg Queen's face. Like they thought that was this obvious reveal.
Yeah, and it was.
And then when you get the Borg Queen, it looks like something my kid and I made in our garage.
Yeah.
Like I get they spent all this money on an Enterprise D bridge that is shown up somewhere. Man,
no, they already disassembled it.
No, I know, but
it's
like
gone.
they didn't just chuck it like they do to Millennium Falcon cockpits. They remake those every movie. It's like, can I have one? Anyway, that's showing up in some future thing because they lit it with LEDs but did neon in the corners to make it look exactly like 1987. Like that's the one thing I did see is the rebuilding of that set, because that shit was right up my wheelhouse. Did you see the thing I posted actually on Serious Star Trek podcast Facebook forum? Well, that Denise and Mike Okuda put the little coffee things on there.
I did see that.
I was like, man,
to their credit, I mean, they really took their time. Right? Like they did a great job on the D bridge. Like I give them all the credit in the world for the D bridge.
So that money went to there, is what I was saying, and didn't go into the Borg Queen, because you can tell that was a stunt girl on a diving board that they just hung like rubber sheets in front of. Like it was just the worst. I couldn't get over it.
So I like the idea, but again, they didn't spell this out very well. And I picked up on it because I'm a Voyager fanatic and I watched Endgame like 2 days before, just randomly. But after Endgame, Janeway blows up the entire transwarp network, right? So the Borg Queen she can't get any of her Borg anymore. So she starts like cannibalizing. The Borg are effectively destroying themselves, right? So the Borg Queen is not supposed to look all sexy Alice Krieg from First Contact. She is this mutilated, like on her last deathbed sort of situation, you know? So I appreciated that, but again, they didn't spell it out at all.
That's fine. I'm talking just the mechanics of it.
Like, sure.
Like the makeup, okay, that's cool. She's a destroyed cannibal, zombie thing. That's great. but you can see how the girl's like laying like this, and then there's something in front that's hiding the thing that's supporting her, and it's just like,
Gotcha.
oh my god.
This
man.
I also don't get. Like, I don't buy that they could not afford to get the rest of the Next Generation cast or work through their busy schedules. What was Dragon Con that week or something? So they all had to make guest appearances. They got nothing going on, and these guys, they're lucky if they're getting above scale. They would be in this movie for free for all the extra shine it gives on their career for their next appearances and whatever they're milking for the rest of their life.
I've tried to read between the lines on some of this, and I think a lot of them were really pissed that they weren't involved with Picard to begin with, and they kind of played their hand a little bit, where they're like, "Oh, you need me all of a sudden? Okay, well, you need to give me this," that sort of thing. I know Gates McFadden especially was really pissed, and I'm pretty sure. Again, I'm trying to read between the lines. I think LeVar Burton was pretty pissed about it as well. But
I'm sorry, Gates. I'm sorry, Gates, but how many other offers are you getting? This is
I'm just saying, like they had the upper hand in that negotiation. Is all.
Well, and they definitely gave her meaty scenes to chew.
Oh yeah, she did a great job. Gates McFadden did a great job. Yeah, I think they all did a great job with the non-coherent story.
But they could have just as easily said, "Yeah, Geordi had a heart attack back 5 years ago, and I wish he could have made it to this day." They could have glossed over any one of those guys that they wanted to. I just don't believe that was a sticking point really for the budget, because this is a low budget affair all around. I feel like this is
they slashed the budget for season 3, which is why they built the bridge in season 2.
This is what I'm saying. It's all hallway scenes, and like there was not and outer space battles, which are just cheap to produce,
especially now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot cheaper and easier than they've ever been. That's the easiest thing to do is look at our intro. We've got a fairly reasonable starship flying by in our intro.
We got better graphics than TOS. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
Not some of those fan re-edits, though.
No, I do think I did get the impression. I did, and he basically said this was like, yeah, they cut the budget, and they basically just left us alone. They expected us to fail, essentially. And I mean, I think that's a pretty good background context for everything that happened. And now that it's not failing, and everyone is bugging Kurtzman for Terry Metalis to take over, Kurtzman's gonna get all pissy, and it's not gonna happen. He's gonna do the 7 and 9 show, but he's gonna put someone else in charge.
Yeah,
that's my prediction.
That could be.
I'll do it.
I'll do it. I fucking love 7 and 9. And that's a great character.
Metalis can now, on the back of this, move on to other things and be like, look what I did.
Oh, yeah.
I pulled their ass out of the fire on start Picard Blue until I got there. And then literally, can we talk about the ending now? Can we just talk about the very ending? The Q appearance.
Of course there was going to be a Q appearance. Of course there was.
I didn't watch the first 2 seasons. You guys were like, yeah, they already did Q,
yeah.
Dan.
They did.
They can't do Q anymore. You poo-pooed Q.
We did.
How did they get rid of Q previously? Just quickly. Like what?
He died
now, right? Yeah.
He died. Yeah. That was it. He died showing Picard like the power of love or something. It was really stupid.
I
really
just love. They're like, yeah, no, you quirky human, you have no idea.
But that's a Star Trek. That's a Star Trek Q.
I just think that, like everything, they're doing cool stuff, but it's all in the wrong order. You know, like if you have Q, just hey, Picard, you're a dude again.
Yeah,
I don't know what that was about.
That's where I was going.
And then do the same show. It's just this whole shit that you don't have to listen to ever again.
I think it would have felt too like he could have just showed up at any point throughout the series and Deus Ex Machina the shit out of the whole thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like that wouldn't have been. We would have been complaining about that ending big time if that happened. So
it's internally consistent, though. You have a mischief character who did mischief. Now then you're talking about whether that worked for you or not whether that it made any fucking sense in a Star Trek show, which is like every one of my critiques of this fucking banana show for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So yes.
So then we approve of bringing back Q. Like, how about a Q
Why
centric
not?
Jack
Why not?
Crusher Q centric Star Trek future? Because
Well, that I don't want.
this is now. Correct me if I'm wrong, John. I know you will. Well, we're at the tip of the spear of Star Trek continuity now.
Yes.
We're where
Yeah.
no man has gone before. There's
Yeah, correct.
no series that charts what happens after this, right?
That's
We're
correct.
at the farthest point of the Star Trek. So the future is Jack Crusher and
Well,
Seven
the
of
future
Nine.
is 7 and 9.
But Jack is but wait, even though he's an ensign on a
I know.
accelerated Jack program, Hugh makes it clear that
The future is Sidney LaForge and Jack Crusher as ensigns on the USS 7 and 9.
All right.
That's the future.
Listen to this. So here's the future, right? Q shows up and goes, "Hey, I know everybody's expecting me to teach you about the human venture like I did to your dad, but I'm fucking having some kind of Q problem, and I need Jack Crusher to help me." And then Jack goes, "No, don't Will Wheaton me." He's like, "No, you're coming with me." And then we never have to mention that again.
could have been great.
Next episode, they have to come get Rafi, and then she goes.
It would have been great if Q showed up and he said, "Look,"
And then
Q showed up.
gets
Third
Rios.
episode, he goes back in time and gets Rios. Brings him in.
Rios comes back.
But Larry,
And then they just do the Stargazer show. That
it would have
makes
had to.
sense.
It would have had to be where Q is like, the Q continuum. We're omnipotent and everything, but there's something so special about you, Jack Crusher, that only you hold key. And then he takes him somewhere, and then you're set up for, if people really did love Jack Crusher, okay, you could bring him back and you could bring him into a series, or you could forget about him or turn him into God or make him a villain or whatever. But now we are stuck with like, that's it. The future is this ship. It's the Enterprise G.
Well, let's talk about that too. But I mean,
Enterprise G.
if nothing happens,
yeah,
the Titan got renamed. But if nothing happens,
I mean, look, in a year,
it's incredibly.
They got replicators. It's not like their hand bolting those things together. Like, so
I don't like it.
I don't understand.
It's very bad. It's very, very bad.
You know, when John starts mumbling about a ship, it's not
good.
I knew
this,
John, because
like
right. This is where, John, you're going like, oh, I kind of like this show. I kind of like this show. And then they go, oh, we rechristened the Titan. And John,
it doesn't make any sense. That's
in
stupid.
your soul, you're just like, no.
There's so many issues. There's so many issues with this. There's, first of all, and this is a valid critique I've seen of some people have made, where it's like, you're kind of insulting the Titan. Like, the Titan was like part of this whole adventure. The Titan was like the savior, like, other than the Enterprise D, the Titan, 7 of 9 wrestled her ship back, and was fighting the Borg like by herself. Like, you're kind of disrespecting the Titan, right? Just let it be the fucking Titan. You're going to build more ships, right? Name one of the new ones, fucking Enterprise. And then other people are pissed off. It's like, it's too small to be a flagship.
Yeah. It's shitting in Shaw's face.
And then other people are pissed. Because the Enterprise F got blowed up. And it's like, well, what's the point of that? The Enterprise F is this huge, massive ship. That's your fucking flagship right there. And nobody's happy. Nobody's happy except Terry Metalis, who's never going to get hired.
Well, how shitty is that the captain of the Titan dies?
They renamed the poor guy's ship
due to the Borgs, that he hates.
That he hates
from the guy that he hates.
That was a bad. I did disagree with the way Shaw died. I think he should have, I think just narratively, the idea that Shaw was always going to die at the hands of the Borg. Well, that's a fucking horrible destiny for someone to have. I'm glad you survived 35 years ago. Now your clock's ticking. All right, time to cash in.
That's more of that fucking nonsense from these guys. Where did they give that to the audience at any point? Where did he go? Man, I'm living on borrowed time. Yeah, I told you last episode about Wolf 359, but it has to be part of his personality, or it comes out of nowhere and nobody gives a shit.
Mm-hmm. I'm a Shaw guy. I'm a Shaw fan. I thought he was good. I liked his overall arc. I thought it was too long. just like the season was too long. But if you had compressed it to a tight 5 or whatever, his arc could have worked fine in there and it would have been good.
Yeah.
He was the character I liked. The new character I liked, that Vulcan chick, was a character we liked.
Yeah, I like that. I like the
loved her.
Vulcan.
They
She was great.
killed the good new characters, and
Yeah.
they took the characters we hated the most,
Ugh, Jack
Raffi and Crusher, and are like, no, they are front and center in your face in Star Trek continuity.
I don't know what they like about. I mean, I don't mean this in a personal way, but like Michelle Hurd, like of all of, like I there's things I like Michelle Hurd in, but like that character is awful. Like, why is it that character that they brought back? And then you got to think like, well, in season 2, they have a whole thing about how 7 and 9 and Raffi are together, and then there's a whole bunch of people pissed off because Terry Matalas has basically ignored that and was like, yeah, that's stupid, we're never doing that again. So there's a whole bunch of people pissed off about that. Oh, you're erasing queer characters and all that stuff. So it's just there's so much dissonance and weird reactions kind of combining into this one unified voice of Terry Trek.
Isn't that a conflict of interest to have a first officer? And
yes, it's a huge conflict of interest. The United States military would never do that.
Relationship, like, yeah, you would never. It would never be allowed. It would be.
You're not even allowed to serve on the same thing as like a sibling, let alone a lover, like, or a girlfriend, whatever.
Right. We all know Kirk was the bane of the HR department.
Watching Price struggle with like honeyisms.
Honeyisms.
Lava.
Yeah, like they're honeybees. They're look.
But
anyway, all I'm saying.
Wait a minute. Then again, in Strange New Worlds, doesn't Pike and Number One, they had a former relationship too?
No.
Oh,
in Strange New Worlds, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
Strange
don't
New
watch
Worlds.
that bullshit.
No.
That's a
What's her
terrible
face?
show.
Number One, weren't they? What was their
No.
connection? I thought they were connected to us.
No. She just she's an
Did
officer.
you guys
that,
Did you guys see the new Strange New Worlds thing where they have Captain Kirk fucking hitting on Khan's daughter?
It was kind of
out of here. Are you kidding me with that? I hate that show. Almost. I mean, I'm not going to say it's on Discovery level. There are very few things in this world that will ever come to Discovery level, but my ire for that show is growing exponentially the more I think about it right now.
There's one shot in that trailer that I watched. There's one shot where they do like Lon Noonien Singh's face, and there's like a Gorn face, like drooling acid.
Oh, the alien shot, yeah.
They like again are going back to the explicit alien well, and literally just deciding like we're just gonna rip off an alien.
Yeah.
I love how Dan's horrified by that.
I'm offended. Well, dude, I'm not in almost anything else, but like this is fucking Star Trek, and you're gonna. It's not a fleeting reference. It's a shot for shot aping of certain things. That's like, is it meant to be so obvious that we all know it and we get it and we're in on the joke?
Akiva Goldsman thinks he's a clever director.
Yeah, or
that's a good reference, right?
That's what I want to know. Is he putting it out there as an homage? But I have not seen it ever even addressed. I haven't seen anybody even speak about it outside of this show because we bring you the truth here on Sirius.
The anti-conspiracy Star Trek show. Hey, did you know Michelle Hurd was married to Garrett Dillahunt from Deadwood? And
I did not know that.
Well, he played like 15 guys in Deadwood. So there was that other cool sitcom that My Name Is Earl guy did right after Raising Hope. He was the dad in Raising Hope.
Never seen it.
Anyway,
are there any other specific instances we want to call out? We talked about the Enterprise. We talked about the renaming. We talked about Q. We talked about Captain Seven. We talked about.
I hate the putting letters.
It's gotten out of hand.
I
Way out of
fucking
hand.
hate that. It's like
on what?
The letters on the Enterprise and the Titan.
All of them. They all the new ships.
Everybody's
have
got
letters.
it. I was okay with the A in the movies, right? Because they're making a point that, Kirk, thanks for saving everybody. And they're nodding that this is also a motion picture cash cow. So what are you gonna do, right? You can't. I get that, but then there's an Enterprise B. It just should have been, what was the Excelsior class?
The Excelsior, yeah. Everything.
And then
will come
have
on
it be
Tuesday.
NCC's, 71701, and do that. Like have every Enterprise in a new class have like 01 or a 17 in it or something.
That would
like the fucking real thing that you would do.
Yeah.
Like you would never do that.
I didn't care about any of that, but when do they rechristen ships?
They don't.
They do that?
It's bad luck.
It's
doesn't
terrible luck.
That one
They just did it. They just did it with the USS Chancellorville, and it's quite a controversy because it's named after a Confederate victory. So I understand why they did it, but it's an active warship, and like everyone's like, "Dude, this is bad luck. You can't do this. Like, just let it retire." So yeah, no, you don't rechristen ships. It's bad. Shane, I'll tell you.
And in Star Trek, they do it all the time.
Star Trek, you do it like every fucking episode.
I would never be the captain of a ship.
The second Defiant is the Sao Paulo. Like it's bad.
But especially when there was a 1 year gap. I mean, in Star Trek time, they could have built a zillion ships. They could have had the all new Enterprise.
Yeah,
and it's essentially an all new crew anyway. 7 and 9. They decommissioned the Titan, but look, 7 has gotten a new commission. Look at the new ship.
You can even have it the exact same type of ship. Like literally, just don't make it the Titan. You can have that nice little 2-shot where the Titan and the Enterprise leave space dock together, and they're the same ship. And you're like, okay, off on our adventures. And you have fucking undead Shaw being like, okay, see you later, Captain 7. And then you zoom in on 7 and 9.
Okay, and so
all hot and sexy.
And what happened to the D at the end of the ship?
It's in the museum. They put it in the museum.
It's back in dry dock.
Yeah, it's in one of those little circle things. Yeah, where it should be.
Which Geordi's man cave now.
Geordi's starbase size man cave. Yes,
he's got his own private holodeck in there, and there's
got a lot. I'm sure he does. Yeah,
I love that little
Brahms is.
I love the model with a little circles under it because the conceit is it's a big thing that you walk around and can look at the underside of the ship. Except every time they showed it, the ceiling was opaque. So you could look out at the space on the side, but when you went up to look at the ship that's above you, you couldn't really see anything.
Yeah.
Who did that?
That glaring logic error that Larry just pointed out means it's the end of the show. Guys, this has been a banger. It's been a great season. I went up and down and down and up.
Yeah.
Let's never speak of this again.
We've got Strange New Worlds coming up, but not for
a little while.
A couple weeks at least, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I want to talk about Mandalorian since we don't have any Star Trek to talk about next couple weeks. I want to talk about Mandalorian because I love that show.
Next week because I might even rewatch because that's a show that's rewatchable that had some episodes that I want to go back on and watch again because there were nuances in them and interesting things happening. Not to mention every single episode has at least one, if not 2 or 3 badass visual set pieces, like amazing creatures, robots.
Oh yeah,
jetpack fighting.
I'm waiting for that mythosaur.
The mythosaur.
I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, because their creature stuff has been as great as their any spaceship stuff that they do, which is head and shoulders above what we've got going on.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
In Star Trek, I'll leave us with one thought. My wife works with, let's just say, students. And she goes, Dan, they all tell me, the students at my school, they're all telling me how Star Wars is so lame now and Star Trek is the coolest thing. And I said, that doesn't sound, honey, are these kids dorks? And she said, yes, they're the dorkiest. They're the dorkiest kids in school. So
nice.
That distinction remains. But if you want to watch the dorkiest show on the internet, we'll be back next week.
Dorky.
It's going to be.
Do you want to say next week we're reviewing the first episode of the season of the Mando?
Oh, we'll talk about Mando.
All right. I got to watch it
let's
again.
talk about the season in general, but maybe I'll rewatch the first episode just to get back just to reset my my memory.
All right, sounds good.
To get back to where we once belonged.
But wait a minute, Larry, we're gonna do that. It's gonna be, wait a minute. I know this. It's every week and I forget because I always remember that it's on Tuesdays. It's at 3 p.m. Pacific Earth time. But Larry, where? Oh, where? Oh, wait. And before you tell us, Larry, I'm gonna just want to remind you, I'm gonna take us out on inarguably my favorite character from Star Trek Picard season 3. We're gonna take you out on a little extended clip of that fellow. But we'll be back next Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Earth time. But where, Larry? Oh, where, Larry?
On the internet.
Yeah.
What really happened? What really happened here? Who was the cowboy who confronted Johnny and Larry that night? Was the old woman in on it too? Could Danny have been hallucinating? But if Dan was hallucinating, who ate house food? What about the mysterious behavior of the barbecue lid? Was it really the nanny? Does this story seem possible? Was the morgue attendant in on the deception too? Were there gases trapped within the milk bucket that caused the activity? How was the doctor able to send email without a computer? Was the sewing machine taken over by the spirit of Byron's grandmother? Could a plant really identify a murderer? Is it possible that a parrot could give a young girl the will to live? Was the sister's husband really the victim of amnesia? But then how do you explain the bullet hole in his phone? Is this story true? Can a fertilized octopus egg ingested into the human system actually grow inside the body? Do you believe this story?